American-made workwear, I'm talking really American-made, okay? Like, not just an American company that outsources everything to different countries and then brings it back here. I'm talking about companies that try to use domestic products, zippers, material, denim, all those things in their product, okay? That's a much bigger ask. But companies are out there that do it. A lot of times they're smaller. They don't have the ad revenue to spend, tons of money to get in front of you. So I'm gonna try to help them out here. I'm gonna give you 11, I thought 10, but actually it's gonna be 11, so you get a bonus. Companies that are domestic, which are doing some really interesting things. Now, I've actually owned products from a lot of these companies. Some I haven't, some were new to me while researching this video. But I'm just gonna try to give you some data points here in case maybe you're just fed up with the company that you've been working with for a long time. If you are, here are some options for you to consider. All right, let's begin with Origin Maine. This is a company that didn't begin as a workwear company, but they slowly are starting to get into it. Now you can buy some jeans and some boots, which are meant for job site abuse. And what's interesting is if you search them on Google, the first thing that comes up, originmaine.com, it says Origin Maine official site, no imported materials. So that their whole thing is everything is domestic. As a matter of fact, I know they were even looking into one day being able to grow their own cotton. So if you want to check out a pretty cool option from these guys, the Built Field Pant is definitely one. This is a double knee jean, which really looks like it's meant for battle. And, I think Jocko Willink has a partnership in this company, so it's not really out of the ordinary. Now, I actually do own a pair of their boots, their original boots, not their work boots. They're great. I wear them all the time. I also have their factory jean, which is, I think, the precursor to this. It was really meant to fit like workwear, and I gotta tell you, it broke in beautifully. So, Origin Maine, go check them out. All right, up next is the company Diamond Gusset, and you can find them at gusset.com. The cool thing about them is that they have sizes and types of jeans for basically anybody. So they have relaxed fit, slim fit, and even ones for big and full fit. So if you're a bigger guy, maybe this is where you want to go. Their prices also seem to be very reasonable. So if you go to their workwear section, the most expensive one that they have is like $86 or something. Now, the big thing with them, as indicated by the name, is that diamond crotch gusset, which makes movement much easier. This really does, it's a game changer, honest to God. Now, this has actually kind of gained popularity, and now you'll find companies like Duluth Trading Company and Carhartt doing this because it just works. But anyway, Diamond Gusset brand jeans are definitely the ones where you'll find this. They're from Tennessee, and there's not really a whole lot that I could find about the materials that they use. Regardless, they are an American company. Seems like everything is made in the USA. Where they get that material, it may be imported. I'm not really sure. Up next, we have the All-American Clothing Company, which began in 2002. And what's interesting about them is it seems that they're also a reseller. So you can buy clothes from different companies through this website, I believe, as long as they fall under the All-American umbrella. Now, as far as the All-American Clothing Company themselves, I was looking at a couple of their products, like their men's carpenter jean in dark stonewash, which is $65. And then there's the Cumberland hooded duck canvas jacket. I believe Cumberland is just the model that they make because I couldn't find any Cumberland Clothing Company. What's interesting too, though, is that it says right here, Union made in Oklahoma, USA with USA and imported materials. So if Union made is important to you, this is probably where you should look. That being said, this is a very classic look. You've seen this jacket from a bunch of different companies because it just works. Now at $136, it's on the higher end. But a lot of times that's the premium that you're going to have to pay for USA made goods, especially when they're union made. From the great state of Texas is Ciano Farmer Denim Company, or maybe it's pronounced Ciano Farmer Denim Company. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, this is a company that I cannot believe that I haven't found before because they have some incredible stuff. Everything from selvage denim to duck canvas to outerwear to work shirts to hats. And they even do hemming and repair there. What a cool company. So I'm looking at these different products that they have, and they definitely seem like workwear, but also kind of stylized. So you won't find a lot of the kind of boring workwear that you've seen before. These seem to be a little bit more along the lines of a free note cloth or a rail car fine goods kind of deal. But either way, you will find products here for just under $200. So they have products like riveted double knee pants, but if you head over to their jacket section, there's some really cool stuff there where I think that it's a little bit more vintage inspired, but really very nice. And there's a couple here that would absolutely do perfect on the job site, like the Pablo. I like the pocket layout of that. It reminds me a lot of the stuff that I've worn in the field before. So this is another company made in the USA, in Texas. It's expensive, there's no doubt about it, but I'll bet you this is one of the companies that you really get what you pay for. This next one's for the ladies. Anyway, this is Red Ants Pants out of Montana. And they make workwear for women, made in the USA, which is really cool because those are two things that seem to be hard to find. A lot of times, companies seem to just, there's a name for it, and I believe it's called pink and shrink, where they'll take a product that exists, they'll put it in some pastel colors, they'll make it a bit smaller, and then call that their workwear line for women. But instead, what they've done here at Red Ants Pants is actually just start their whole business model for women, which is pretty damn cool. Now, their product selection isn't vast. They seem to be mostly focused on pants for the time being, but you can also find shorts and shirts and hoodies and vests and things like that. There's even a kids section there. So again, this is one that's more for the ladies, but I think that's an underserved segment. So there you go, Red Ants Pants. Go check them out. From Portland is Red Clouds Collective. Now, you'll find a lot of things here, and honest to God, this is more or less what I think of when I think of an old school workwear company. Again, their stuff is expensive, but it's sort of to be expected when you look at the level of craftsmanship that goes into it. But we're talking about $300 for a pair of double front pants. They'll probably last you forever. I've also heard that their Great Northern overalls are supposed to be some of the best out there, but they also have jeans. They have a jacket, which is about $350. They have some shirts. They have some hats. So you could find most of the stuff that you would find from any workwear company here. This definitely looks like it walks that very fine line between workwear and, rugged style casual wear. So you could wear this in either place. And I like the fact that they actually kind of show their products being used in the field rather than somebody just kind of standing against something. So they have pictures of a guy like handling an old flathead Harley engine and stuff like that. There's also a good selection of leather goods on here. So go ahead and check out the website. It's pretty cool stuff. If you were going to rock one of these on the job, I'll bet you they would last for a damn long time. But I love the idea of a small American workshop creating the best possible product that they can imagine. Out of Oregon is Grease Point Workwear. This is another company I've heard great things about, and I'm sort of embarrassed that I don't own anything by them yet. Now, the story behind Grease Point is actually really interesting. We don't have time to get into it here. It was founded by a guy named Amos, and if I remember correctly, he actually farms in the on-season, and then the off-season creates this workwear. And I think that may have changed recently as the workwear became a bigger part of his business. But if you look at their offering of pants, for example, almost everything here has double knee. Now, since it is a small shop, you can actually customize everything there. If I remember correctly, the customization options are pretty vast. I know some people who have owned some of this stuff. Now, that being said, it's not cheap. So you're talking about, $350 for a pair of double front jeans here. That, in my opinion, yes, even though it is called, like this specific one here is called the Work Jean, 16-ounce canvas, even though it does say the Work Jean, and you should use it for work if you get it, that price is going to scare a lot of people off. People have a hard time spending up to $100 on a pair of jeans. So I think that one of the things that's really tricky is trying to get that balance. And another really cool thing that they do is they actually list out the materials beneath the features section and tell you where everything's from. So the thread is from North Carolina. The copper rivets are from YKK out of Kentucky. And you can actually trace back every component to see what makeup of your pants are. Pretty cool stuff, I think. Now, they also have a lot of other products. Everything is sort of at that premium price point, but you can also find coats, you can find shirts, you can find accessories. I think, again, this is very much like Red Clouds Collective, where the things here are made in a small workshop by people who are really trying to make the best thing they possibly can, and with that comes a price. Out of New Jersey is Heat Straps LLC. Now, what's interesting about this company is that it was begun by two firefighter brothers, and they created these heat straps for, firemen. Then they started to expand a little bit. So they have a couple of different options here as far as coats go. The Truckman Chore Coat, but the one that I want to talk to you about is called the Chief Coat. I actually just got one of these. And now it's a typical, very classic chore coat layout, but it is made out of insanely heavy waxed canvas. And now every component in this, along with being made in the USA, is sourced from the USA. So I know that the lining is from New Jersey. There's YKK components out of Kentucky. So everything in this, they've gone through painstaking trouble to make sure that they source everything domestically. And the crazy thing about this, the Chief Coat, if you were to be able to feel one, you would be shocked, is that it costs $350. That seems expensive until you actually check one of these things out. I mean, everything on it is so sorted out, but familiar. I don't know how you would wear through it unless you were working with abrasives all day or something. Maybe if you work in a sandpaper factory as the guy who gets sanded, I don't know. But either way, wearing through this thing is definitely going to be a chore. I was very impressed when I picked this thing up. A full review is coming very soon, but check these guys out. From Oklahoma and founded in 1903 is Roundhouse. These guys have been around for a long time. They've become best known for their bibs. As a matter of fact, I did a comparison between Carhartt, Duluth Trading Company, Patagonia Workwear, and Roundhouse in a recent video. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. But either way, they really seem to be focused on the bottom game, for lack of a better term. So if you want bibs of all different kinds or jeans or anything like that, this is the place to go. They also seem to have the oldest website in existence because this thing is, I mean, it hasn't been updated ever, I would imagine. But either way, it doesn't really matter because as long as they have the goods where it counts, that's what really matters. The great thing about them is that even though they're made in the USA, they've been around for a long time, well sorted out jeans and bibs, their prices are really very reasonable. So we're talking about $80 for a pair of bibs, and a lot of times they're on sale. So right now I'm looking at these. They were originally $80. Now they're on sale for $50. Go ahead and pick up a pair of these things or two. Keep one in your car. I mean, you know, you really could find some pretty incredible stuff. They even have irregulars and seconds for like $30. If you're looking for value in an American-made company, and I know we've covered some very expensive stuff to this point, Roundhouse is the place to look. From Tennessee is LC King, and I actually own their chore coat in brown duck canvas. This is another company that reminds me a lot of Roundhouse Workwear, where they sort of began as this old school workwear company that didn't seem to care much about the internet. But since then, they seem to have become a little bit more forward thinking. So I'm not sure if they have somebody at the helm now who's really paying attention to those kind of things. But before, they had like a few products and that was kind of it. Now everything's been redesigned, but it also looks like their prices have gone up as well. You know, for a washed indigo denim chore coat, I'm looking at $170. That's quite a bit. And I got to tell you, my brown chore coat, it's not worth $170. I think I paid like $110 for it. That's a little bit more reasonable. The reason I bring up price is because that's very important when it comes to workwear. If you're going to go out and thrash on this stuff, it has to be reasonably priced. But these products still have to have the goods. So if you're going to charge nearly $200 for an unlined jacket, which is essentially just a heavy shirt, I think a lot of people who are actually working in the field are going to have a hard time with that. Now, that being said, they have a lot of different products, so you can go ahead and check it out if you want to. I mean, again, buying things that are made in the USA do come with a premium, and I understand that. I think that this is a pretty cool company. Now, what's interesting, too, is that they used to have a sub-brand called Pointer Brand, and I'm not really sure what happened to Pointer Brand, but you can still find some old LC King stuff out there, which has a Pointer Brand patch on it. Now, there's probably a story behind it, which I'm not privy to, but either way, cool brand and definitely worth checking out. Number one, and number one for a reason, is 1620 Workwear out of Massachusetts. These guys are really impressing me a lot. Number one, I think that they keep the prices reasonable for what you're getting. Again, you got to consider made in the USA, right? All that stuff. But they also seem to be innovating. They're not just copying the stuff that you've seen time and time again, which a lot of other companies do. You know, like, oh yeah, I've seen that short coat before. I've seen those 5-pocket pants before. What you'll find with these guys, though, supposedly their hoodies are some of the best around as far as durability goes and people who actually wear them. I have a pair of their double knee pants, which has Cordura in it, and supposedly they're like almost impossible to break. But if you do wear through their stuff, it's guaranteed for life. And as I've heard, there's basically nothing that they can't either repair or replace. It's just, when it comes to workwear, that's a much easier thing to ask when the prices are what they are here. So we're talking about $175 for a double knee utility pant, for a soft shell work jacket. We're talking $300. But they're big into the made in the USA thing. And they also have a whole dedicated section for cold weather gear. Now, being New Englanders themselves, they know what working outside is like, especially construction. It can be really rough. So they have heavy work pants, which are meant for the winter. Every time I look at some 1620 products, and I own a few, I really am quite impressed. Now, one of the products that I want to bring to your attention is the Shop Pant, because it has 4-way stretch. And it's the stretchiest pair of work pants I've ever worn. They look like regular work pants, thank God, you know, because a lot of these things, they look more like you're wearing something from like, you know, yoga class or something. But if you're gonna actually wear it on the job, then they have to look the part. The Shop Pant absolutely does, but it stretches like an unbelievable amount. And from what I also understand, The durability is supposed to be incredible. Now, I haven't really worn them long enough to see that, but I could definitely see how they kind of shrug off abrasion. These are $198, which is definitely expensive, but having worn them for a few months now, I've got to tell you, it's been worth every penny. So 1620 is that. They're one of those companies that I think is a real up-and-comer. I think that we're going to see a lot more of them out there on the site, and for good reason, as I mentioned. You definitely get what you pay for. So there you go, 11 companies that are making domestic workwear. Now, this isn't the only 11. There are others out there, and I asked you guys to submit your favorite American workwear companies. There were some in there that I didn't even know existed. So I love learning from you guys, and the comment section is a great place to do that. And I'm not ignorant to the fact that people from all over the world watch this channel. So, American made might be important to Americans, but it's probably not as important to people who live elsewhere. There was a time where American made meant quality, but I think we could probably all agree that unfortunately that's changed. Now, I actually have a whole workwear playlist where I compare companies like Carhartt, Dickies, Duluth Trading Company, Roundhouse, Patagonia Workwear, and others. And if you want to go ahead and check that out, go ahead and click right here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.